In the last video, I was going over what the defense is going to look like heading into this 2025 season, talking about some of the starters, key players, and really what I expect to happen as far as the depth chart goes. Well, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the offense. But before we get started, if you guys enjoy Michigan football content, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. I would love to continue doing this over here on the channel, and if you guys continue to support it, then we can continue to do it. Something that should be mentioned before we start talking about the players is the fact that we have a new offensive coordinator here for the Michigan Wolverines, and that is Chip Lindsey coming over from North Carolina. I know when he first got hired, I was kind of worried that maybe he's going to bring more of a spread attack to Michigan, but then you really look at what he was able to do last year with the Tar Heels, and you see Omarion Hampton, who was really dominant last year, one of the best running backs in college football, probably the second best running back in college football behind Ashton Jeanty. And the offense led by Chip Lindsey allowed Omarion Hampton to become a first-round draft pick. So I think it's really good for these running backs here that Michigan has heading into 2025. With Chip Lindsey coming in, allows us to throw the ball a little bit more. Brings in an offensive coordinator that's not afraid to push the ball downfield through the air. But he also respects and likes his running backs as well. And we got a couple of good ones heading into this season. I guess we'll talk about these running backs first, with Justice Haynes, the transfer from Alabama, and Jordan Marshall entering his redshirt freshman season after an excellent performance in the game against Alabama in the ReliaQuest Bowl. I think that this is the best running back duo that we've had since the 2022 version of Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. And then maybe I think you go a step ahead and say they're better than the 2021 combination of Blake Corum and Hassan Haskins potentially. I think Justice Haynes is somebody who can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a little shifty, but he's got some power. And Jordan Marshall will act more as that power back. But when you have two really solid running backs, it'll make a quarterback's life a whole lot easier. But when you have two really solid running backs, you have to worry, is the offensive line good enough for these running backs to run behind? And I think that has been a part of the offense that we've been a little bit worried about over the last couple of seasons. In 2021 and 2022, the offensive line was dominant. Joe Moore award-winning offensive lines. In 2023, they kind of took a step back a little bit. But when you had Blake Corum out there on offense, you know, he was so dominant that you were still able to run the football with some success. But there has been a drop-off every year since 2022, essentially. Heading into this season, there's two players that I've identified as pretty much locks as far as the offensive line goes, and that's Giovanni El-Hadi at left guard and then Greg Crippen at center. Aside from those two, it's kind of open for anybody to play. I think that Andrew Babalola, the true freshman, has an opportunity to start at tackle entering this season. He has been praised by Sharon Moore, an offensive line guy himself. He knows what dominance looks like along the offensive line, so there is a chance that Andrew Babalola will start entering 2025. Aside from him, you have Evan Link, redshirt sophomore. You have Nathan Ifobi, who is also a redshirt sophomore, and Andrew Sprague, who's a redshirt freshman. When you look at it, these guys had about equal snaps throughout the season last year. They were kind of swapped a lot last year. Like I said, I only have two locks along the offensive line, but I think that if you're able to find out who those other three guys are going to be, then I think that you're going to find some success. Babalola, I think, is probably your strongest option to get him out there starting. Could take a while to get him on the field because he is just a true freshman, but he's working his way towards playing time week by week. Next, we'll talk about the tight ends and fullback because Max Bredesen is a beast, and I'm glad that we have him back entering this season. Feels like he's been here for a while. Actually, me and my dad were just talking about it, and we're like, how long has he been there? And I think that overall, when you think about Max Bredesen, this guy is a hard-nosed football player who is going to put his body on the line every single play of every single game. He's somebody you want on your offense, and you really can't give him as much praise as he deserves. As far as the tight end position goes, Marlon Klein will probably be tight end number one, filling in for Colston Loveland. I spoke about Marlon Klein in the previous video where I talked about the 5 key players entering this season, and I think that if Marlon Klein can put up about half the production that Colston Loveland did, and then maybe Hogan Hansen or Zach Marshall, maybe even Brady Prescorn can also give some production out there, then you're not really going to have a huge drop-off I mean, that's probably a lie because Colston Loveland was a first-round tight end, the first tight end taken off the board last year. You're going to have a drop-off. But I think if all these guys can contribute equally. You look back to, going on a baseball reference here, you look at the Athletics back in the day and you look at their Moneyball strategy. They replaced one player, but they brought in 4 different guys who could, combine to be what that player was. If you're able to do that with Marlon Klein and Hogan Hansen and the rest of the tight ends, and then combine that together and make a Colston Loveland in some shape or form, that would be pretty cool. As far as the wide receivers go, I think we got a lot better at this position heading into this season. The position group was extremely small over the last couple of seasons, and you got a lot of size through the transfer portal and through recruiting. With Donovan McCulley, the transfer from Indiana, I'm extremely excited to see what he can do. He was one of those players that I identified as a key player entering this season. I also like what Frederick Moore was able to do to end the season last year. I'm excited about his potential, along with Jamar Browder, the true freshman, and Andrew Marsh, another true freshman. I think that both of these guys can get on the field and be impact players. And then we also brought in a transfer from UMass and Anthony Simpson. Not sure how often he'll get on the field entering this season, but it is nice to bring in depth at the position. Samaj Morgan is back along with Kendrick Bell and Peyton O'Leary. But with the additions that you've made through the portal and recruiting over the last couple of seasons, I'm not sure how big of a role they'll necessarily have. Samaj Morgan, to me, is an excellent gadget player. He's perfect in the jet sweep scenarios and the quick screen game to him, but he's not a downfield threat running routes. He just hasn't really separated himself as a route runner over the last couple of seasons. But like I said, overall, I am excited about this receiver group. I think that it got a lot better. And you need weapons when you have a new quarterback. And the last guy we'll talk about is going to be Bryce Underwood. I know there's been some speculation that if Mikey Keene is healthy, he may be the starter. Davis Warren, if not for the injury, could have been the starter again. But overall, Bryce Underwood is your guy. You don't go after and push for the #1 recruit in high school football to not bring him in. And especially you hear the good things that we've heard out of Bryce Underwood as we enter the summer camp, we end spring camp, and now we're going to be getting closer to the regular season. And that is, he is got a strong arm. He's got the frame that you want at quarterback, and he's learning the playbook. He's learning to call some plays and gain the confidence of the offense around him. Bryce Underwood is every bit of a #1 recruit. He looks the part. Now can he go out there on the field and prove it to everybody? I'm excited to see what he can do. And heck, if we go out there and have an 8-4 season, but we threw Bryce Underwood out there and we got to see glimpses of dominance, I will take that every day of the week. If you throw somebody else out there and you settle for an 8-4 season and you don't play Underwood, or you wait until like the 9th or 10th game to play him, I can't live with that. I can live with throwing Bryce Underwood out there and letting them ball out. I'm excited about this offense. I think it gives me the same excitement that I had over the 2021 to 2023 days of offense. Bryce Underwood is going to be exciting to watch. This offense is going to be exciting to watch. I like the additions that they made. The only question for me is the offensive line. Who else is going to separate themselves aside from El Hadi and Crippen? We're going to find out as the season gets closer. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. And one other thing that I should mention is I am on a vacation right now. So at the time of recording this video and the defensive video, it is July 22nd. So things may change from now until when you guys see these videos, which probably could be around August or sometime in the future. So if things change, that's why. But like I said, if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. See ya.